Oh boy, man. I just knew that it was going to be nice outside. And so I stepped outside and then realized it was like 52 degrees, which is nice. It is nice. It's beautiful. It's springy. But then the wind kicks in. And even in the sun, there's like a slight chill in the air. So I thought, okay, perhaps this is not the flip flop day I thought it was. Because I had started out with the flip flops and then realized it's a little cool. So it's a tad bit too cool to have the flip flops on. So we decided to let that go. As always, we start just a smidge early, not because we are getting ahead of time, but as we say, if you are early, you're on time. And if you're on time, you're late. If you're late, it's just not acceptable. So we like to come on a little bit early, get ourselves together, make sure that the sound is working well and the lights are working well, that all the things are doing what they're supposed to do. That is why we do what we do, so that we can start promptly at 1 o'clock. And yes, this is not our normal day. Typically, we are on Wednesdays, but we got some family things to take care of, and family will always come before anything else. So we decided to move this up a day, but we'll be back at our regularly scheduled program date and time next week. As a matter of fact, we're looking at what we're going to do in the month of April. We've got 3 lives planned for April. We are going to talk about some money, and we're going to talk about customers, more along the lines of the customer types and identifying your customer, because every single person who walks through your door or sends you an email is not your customer. Just not how that works. We would like to believe that we are servicing everybody and everybody is open to us. And the fact of the matter is, some of the people that you interact with, they are not your customer, which we mentioned last week. But there are customer types. And if you are aware of the different types, you can adjust your approach and change the way things go down. But more importantly, the fact that it is April, taxes, let's see, it's 3/28. All right, taxes are due. Was it like April 18th? I think it is. Don't quote me. I clearly have not checked. All I know is that they're due. All right, so that much I know. Taxes are due. And then also, too, as a small business owner, if you're paying your sales taxes, your state sales taxes, they're due every quarter. So very soon that bill will be coming up in April as well. So I was talking to my dear friend Ron, my office husband, as we like to say. Hey, we got people coming in. Hello, Spencer. Oh, it looks like I have some family in the audience. Hello there. But I was talking to him about Profit First. If you've never heard of Profit First, got the book here. It's by Mike Michalowicz, the absolute best book you can buy for your small business. Changes the way you look at how you collect your profit, and then also the health of your company. A lot of small businesses tend to go under because they don't collect a profit for, let's say, 5 to 6 years, right? Mike said, look, you ain't got to wait 5 to 6 years. You start taking profit today. And I was like, I can get behind that. I can get behind it. And it just so happens that they are doing an event, I believe, also on the 4th, because there is now a bank that is like the official Profit First bank. This bank allows small business owners to open more than one business account, which makes it beautiful. And there's a $0 fee. What? Say it ain't so, Captain. Say it ain't so. But it is. So I'm excited to see what they have to say next week. But let us get into what we're going to talk about today. This is the last part of our series for this month, as we were talking about customers and really how you want to value that 1-star rating so that you can get yourself together. But then also, too, it allows you to repair your relationship with your customer. And I have to say, Um, I was a busy bee this weekend leaving reviews for other businesses, and there is just nothing worse than having a great experience. And then you go inside to interact with somebody and it just goes downhill. I just saw the stars just like disappearing. I was like, and there goes one star, and there goes another star. Yeah, hot, hotter than fish grease this weekend. Hot. So, we're talking about today a little rough justice, as I like to say on the people's court, a little rough justice. And this is when you have gone through the entire process of talking to your customer, looking at that review, and deciding now what actions should you take to repair that relationship, right? Now, I will say this. Hello, Ron. Thank you for joining. Hey, and if you will, just let the people know where you're tuning in from. We like to share the love all over. So let us know where you're tuning in from. So go ahead and put that in the chat if you will. But there is, and perhaps you have had this moment yourself, but there is this belief that as a customer, if anything goes wrong with an interaction, the company should compensate me as a customer for that thing going wrong, right? Everybody knows that Christmas comes every December on the 25th, last time I heard, right? Everybody knows about Thanksgiving. Everybody don't know about your birthday, but you should know your own birthday. But let's just say that because you live on the Northeast and there's this huge major storm and you decide to wait till last minute to get your holiday gifts and oh my God, they're not going to get here on time. I should be compensated because you did not get my package to me on time and you have now ruined Christmas. Like, okay. So I don't know where that idea came from. I don't know if that started with the lawsuits for like companies serving hot coffee that's a tad bit too hot. And because I dropped the coffee on me, I burned myself. And so you should pay for me burning. Like, I don't know if that's where it started, but there seemed to be this idea that if anything goes wrong, the company should compensate me for life being life, like acts of God. If there is a tornado or nor'easter, floods, whatever it is, a lot of snow, God forbid that you can't come out and deliver my product or FedEx can't get it from the airport. So you should compensate me because, life was lifing. Now, most people who are got some common sense would say, well, there's a tornado and people can't get out or things are going wrong, so I'll just wait to get my package. Like, I'll just wait. But somewhere in this mind, these last couple of years, maybe the last 10, 15, we've had this idea that something went wrong, I should be paid something. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and say, like, that's a no. Okay, because stuff happens. You can only control so many controllables, and whatever the good Lord chooses to do that day, well, we just ride with it. You know what I'm saying? But in small claims court, and I have been in small claims court, unfortunately, there is this thing where their sole focus is to make you whole, no more than, no less. But the idea is to make you whole. So, prime example, I'm going to give two examples. I'll give mine afterwards, but a prime example, and I'm sure you've seen your fair share of photographers in small claims court, which is probably why I don't do weddings. So they are typically a wedding photographer that has been dragged into court because this wedding photographer ruined the wedding because the photos are just awful. That's the claim. And so this person says, I'm going to sue this photographer for $5,000. I paid $3,000 for the service, and then the other $2,000 is for all the stress and strife and just mental anguish because my wedding was ruined. Okay, so you get there, they're presenting their proof, right? And the photographer's like, "Look, I was at this wedding for 4 hours, shot the wedding, delivered the images. I thought they looked pretty good, right? And I have proof that this customer who says I ruined her wedding, she actually shared a couple of these photos on Facebook. So they couldn't have been too bad. So, what the judge tends to do in these cases, it's kind of like Solomon, right? They're looking at these photos, and maybe there's a couple that are a little out of focus. This one's it's a little dark. Ooh, you can't even see what that is. So there are a couple in there that are not quite right. But we also see the photos that are actually pretty good. These are the ones that she shared on Facebook. At least 60 of them out of, say, I don't know, maybe 80. So 20 of them aren't like the very best. But the album still looks good. Like the album that they created looks great. The videos still look great. So and the photographer was there. That person, he, she, or they spent their time capturing this wedding. So would the bride get all of her money back? Let me know real quick. What do you think? Do you believe that this bride would get $5,000 if she posted a couple of photos on Facebook, right? There are some that are not quite right, but there's an album that came out great. The video came out great. Would the bride get $5,000? Let me know your thoughts, and then I'll let you know what happened. All right, Ron says no. Okay. Would you give any money back, Ron? Since you answered, would you give any money back to this bride? Would she get anything back? Let's just figure that out. As a true Texan, I am drinking sweet tea. Okay. Black eighth element, pardon me there. I'm just going to call you John. She should get the option to have them replaced. Okay. Or get the money back. Okay. So when you say get the money back, like 100% get the money back, because this photographer spent 4 hours at the wedding. We didn't even include the editing time, the culling time, travel, gas. Like all of that was still spent. Okay, partial refund. Okay, great. Okay. Well, I will tell you that this is where they did a little rough justice. So no, the bride did not get $5,000. She didn't. She didn't get $5,000 because, as the judge explained, this person still spent time. They gave 4 hours of their time photographing this wedding. They spent money traveling to the wedding. They spent money traveling from. They edited these photos. They did the work. Now, the work was not of great high quality, according to the bride. But the bride clearly liked some of these photos because she shared a good number of them on Facebook. So she could not have been that upset with, oh my God, my wedding was ruined. And Kimberly says real quick, you got married. So the wedding isn't ruined because of the photos. But so back moment, stay focused. So what the judge will do was figure out, based on the amount of time the photographer spent and the photos that were used that the bride clearly liked, how much money the bride should get back. So it's a little bit of rough justice. Like they have to figure out, based on their gut and the timing and perhaps the cost of the photos and the photographer's hourly rate. Oh my gosh, Spencer. Okay, so we always have to have one. but but consider this. The deal is you have to make the person whole. No more, no less. So if she only spent $3,000, she's not getting another two for mental anguish. So that is already cut out. So now we got to take that 3,000 and figure out of this 3,000, how much should she be refunded for the few photos that were not up to par? And then that helps you decide, or the judge decide in this case, how much money to get back. Now, I want to say, because these are all, of course, real cases, that's exactly why I did not become a wedding photographer. They were always in court. Should say are always in court, present tense. I want to say they came somewhere around like $800 some dollars, truly, because the judge did not want the photographer to lose every single thing. Half would have been too much, right? But they thought for what it is, we'll go ahead and give back XYZ. But it's rough justice. It's not like some simple formula, but you have to use all of the information available to you to figure out what would be fair. And fair isn't equal across the board, right? Yeah. Wedding photography, love it. Don't no. It's not where I thrive. So the idea is to figure out how to make this person whole. Now, myself, when I went to small claims court, I know that I am allowed to collect the fees to file for small claims, and I can collect a few other things. But when people do like that whole mental anguish, whatnot, it's much harder to prove than what people see on TV. It is much harder to prove. I just gonna go ahead and put that out there. But the person who files the claim, we come out of pocket a lot of money to file this claim. So for the most part, small claim courts want you as business owners to resolve this issue before it gets to court. That's the ultimate. So before you even talk about I want to get my money back, the first question is, have you too had a chance to talk about a resolution before you came here? Now, you as a consumer, you would think, I'm going to skip this and go right to court. Yeah, they're going to make you pause. I will tell you, they will make you pause and say, well, you should give XYZ company a chance to make it right before you come to court. That's how they look at it. That's why it's called a little rough justice. Now, let's talk about what happens when you get the situation and you're like, okay, great. So now we're here and now it's me. I got a customer and I can tell you right now, I am so shocked that they have not left a negative review. I actually need that review. I probably should write out to them and say, can you leave your review about our situation? Because I need it for my own purposes. But I have had a handful, 3 out of the 10 plus years, almost 11 years, right? 3 customers where it did not go well. Did not go well. One of them, I can really say 4, but one of them was my own thing, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. That's just about being honest with your customer, with yourself, because lying to your customer, it always comes back around. This is called karma. But when you get to a place of, okay, so now that we're here, how do I, if necessary, need to accommodate them? Okay, so the very first thing is just say, we apologize. Most customers just simply want someone to take accountability for the situation and say, you know what, we dropped the ball. We truly, truly apologize for the situation. And I'm going to do XYZ, follow up with so and so and so and so. We'll add a blah, blah, blah. A lot of folks just want that. Take it back. Your customer just wants that. They don't need to have money thrown at them. So, quick sidebar. Can we talk about when we decide to throw money at an issue? Ooh, boy. Now, if you have real customers, like your tribe, if you will, your community working with you, when you throw money at a situation, it tends to go sideways. Actually, it tends to make it worse than what it is. Because at that point, you're not really listening to them. And then some people get really offended. Now, I can tell you some stories. There's nothing worse than someone saying, sorry for this issue. I'll give you a gift card for $5. First of all, that like gas at that point was like maybe like 3 something, I want to say. A $5 gift card can barely get me lunch. You know what I'm saying? So you giving me this whack gift card does not solve the problem. And now I'm just kind of agitated because it's like if you're going to give me money, then $5 barely covers the tax. So why bother offering like the lowest amount you could possibly, offer? Like really, $5? Seriously, but so money can go sideways and it can work against you. I know there are people, we mentioned this last week, who figure I will do anything and everything to make this go away, right? Customers said, I'm going to go online and go on social media and bash your company. Let them go. By all means, do whatever your heart desires. You should not make decisions based on what you believe someone might do, because your reputation will always stand true. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. If you have done your job, growing your business and growing your brand and being authentic, no matter what someone says, people will be like, you know what, that doesn't sound like the company I know. Are you sure about that? So think about that. But throwing money at it does not work. It does not work. So just saying we apologize is the place to start. I have done it a cajillion times. We apologize. You know what? We're very sorry. We clearly dropped the ball. This was not our best day. Look at that. We're actually human. Who would have ever figured we are not perfect? What? And I will tell you that 75% of those conversations ended just like that. It was like, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for calling me back. Thank you for reading my email. Thank you for acknowledging the issue. And it was done. And in those moments, I had no problems thanking them by giving them a gift card for giving me the feedback to help my team be better. Remember, people who come and give you feedback, who stop to write the email, who stop to send a letter. People still send letters? I don't know. I don't know. They still send letters. People start to chat with you, whatever. If you're getting the feedback, that is a sign of care. Somebody actually likes you and somebody wants your business to be better, for you to do better. But if no one told you what was like kind of out of whack, would you ever fix it? And the next thing you know, your doors are closed. So thank you for telling me that we are not on our stuff today. I appreciate that. Right? Here's a gift card. Here's a free coupon for an 8x10 print, whatever it is. You get to decide that. We'll talk about that. But that's one. Just say, I apologize. We're human. Now, here's the next one. Because you don't ever want to say no. But there is an art of saying no without saying no. Now, the two ways that I typically deal with customers who want sun, moon, and stars and a couple of planets, because XYZ happened and Lord bless all the world. Okay. One, I let them decide what they want to do. Now, I will tell you, I have had my fair share of conversations and I don't mind talking to people and I respect every single experience. However, I also know that all this stuff is nothing to like really cry over. Because when you're dead and gone, it's going to be here and somebody going to take it and sell it. So so I give people typically 2 minutes to get it off their chest. And then we got to keep it moving because there are really bigger things in life that we need to be concerned about. 2 minutes. So I learned way back when, instead of me offering ideas of what to do and missing the mark, I said, okay, so how do we solve this? What do you think we should do? What would you like for us to do? Now, depending on their answer, I'm going to ride with it. I'm not fighting it because it makes sense to me. Remember that rough justice? Like, okay, well, all right, I can get down with that. But I will ride with it. If it's kind of out of whack and it doesn't make sense, I'm not. Prime example, I had a customer out in California. This is a Sunday. Okay, they're out in California. We're in Texas. And yeah, they got something that didn't work. I don't know. It didn't work, but they sold it. Whatever, it happens. So according to them, they had hired a babysitter. They had taken all this time off from work, and now they can't get anything done. So they wanted someone from our LA store to come to their house in the next hour to get all this stuff done. Now, first of all, I've only been in the LA area a couple of times in my life. Yeah, that traffic ain't nobody. And I'm saying ain't nobody getting there 1 hour. Like you already know that. Come on, really? Seriously? But more importantly, they had not paid for delivery. Like that was not a service they had. So that was not a service that was on the table. Remember, the idea is to make you whole, no more, no less. If you've never had delivery or any fancy something service, you don't get it now. Like that's a no. So I didn't tell them no. What I said was, I don't know if anyone who could make it to your home in LA traffic in 1 hour. Like, you're asking for miracles, like flying carpet miracles. No one's doing that. No one's doing that. But I did give them another option that had a couple of freebies inside for the the unfortunate expense they have with time. And they were happy. Happy as clams and hot tide, right? So there's a way to say, you know what? I like that idea, but not so much. I'm gonna give you a different idea, same kind of thing, and I'm gonna do XYZ as well to make it like sort of equal, but I can't do that. So there is a way of saying no without necessarily saying no. Because you really don't want to say no. The moment you say no, people shut down. Because then at that point, they're no longer listening to you. When you say, "Well, we can't," and I'm done talking. I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to a manager. I want to talk to a manager. I want to talk to a supervisor. I'm not talking to you. Like, just yeah, just don't say no. Don't go there. Now, one of my other great ways to resolve it, and this works for every business, be you big box, be you itty bitty person, be you one solopreneur doing the thing. These things work for every single person. You give them options. You give them three options, I like to say, and you give the pros and cons of each option. So if the idea is, I want someone to be in my home in 1 hour from LA, then it's like, okay, I can give you this option with this, right? Right. I'll give you option A, and I'll give you, like, I don't know, say a gift card, or for in my profession, I will give you a reshoot, and then I'll throw in like a free 8x10, you know, maybe that's it. Or you can wait for this other option, and here's the pros and here's the cons of doing this option. Or you could do option three. Now, at that point, the customer is now deciding what is best for them and their life. It's no longer you. You are not saying, I didn't give her enough money. I didn't give him enough of this. I didn't. The customer will now decide, okay, well, based on what I got going on, I guess I could wait for delivery, but that's 3 hours, but I get the gift card. Okay, or maybe I could wait for this, or I could drive to the store myself and then do this, or I could, so they get to decide. They can decide what they want to do. And in that point, it feels good because now they are taking charge of this situation, right? You can lay out the options for them. They can decide based on what they got going on. Because I've heard it, well, I can't come back for a new session. I got my mother coming into town. I'm traveling here. I got this going on. My kids play soccer. Da, da, da. If you leave it up to them to decide, again, you're not saying no to anything, but you are letting them take charge of what option they choose. So if they don't like the option, well, they can only blame themselves because you have laid out all the pros and cons for each one. That's what you've done. And that, I find, tends to work just as well as the first option of whatever you want, tell me, and we'll figure out if that makes sense or not. Either way, both of those save time. That back and forth, oh, really, 2 minutes, get off your chest. Let's keep moving because we can't stay here. We can't stay here in the muck. We need to keep going forward. Now, myself being a photographer, when it comes to giving people any kind of accommodation, I got to think about how much I'm spending because it's not free. So here's where the big picture comes in terms of, yes, I want to give this customer whatever I can within reason because it has to be appropriate. Just because you're giving someone an accommodation, be it for your business or someone else's business, does not mean it's free. There's a budget attached. So when I decide to give customers that free 8x10 or a free photo session or what have you, that is still time, gas, and money involved. That's my time. Now, an actual product is real product. Like, that's real product involved there. So even more so, right? These things still have costs. So when you're looking at creating your budget for your business, there typically is a place called other, where you leave a little bit of money for any kind of situations, as we like to say. This is your bucket of money that if you have to compensate someone, accommodate someone, do freebies, that's where that comes from because none of that stuff is free. Back in 2020, I gave away a host of sessions to seniors because they didn't have their prom. So I did a drawing for all these seniors, and there were a lot of seniors who entered into this contest. And I said to myself, there is no way I can tell all of these kids that I'm not going to take their picture in their prom dress or their prom suit. I didn't have the heart. So I picked 6 kids to get the ultimate prize, where they would get some wall art or an album. And then every other child, all the children, they all got a free photo session and like 2 free images, 2 free digital images to share and what have you. Yeah, those albums cost some money. Those prints cost money. The wall art costs money. That wasn't free. That's real product that has real taxes attached to it, right? Was that part of my budget for 2020? Heck no. I didn't even know when 2020 started we were going to be locked up someplace, locked up safely, locked up someplace. Had no idea. But I learned after that that, okay, even I, as a small business owner, need to have a bucket that I leave for the freebies. If you decide to give your customers any kind of VIP service or a VIP gift, that needs to be built into your budget because that's not free. But clearly, the parents loved it, the kids loved it, but I also learned. So, in that same vein, when you're doing your accommodations or planning for the others that happen, leave yourself a little bit of bucket, whatever you think it is. Maybe you have $1,000 set aside for the freebies, or maybe you do $2,000. Now, I can tell you this: I don't get a lot of accommodation conversations on the service side. I mean, I'm a photographer. People do have issues. I'm not gonna lie to you. Most of it tends to be with um, how much something costs, but my time is my time. I'm delivering a high quality product here, so trust and belief. But other than that, I don't get you're not going to be here, you're not going to do this. No, Gwendolyn shows up, I show up, I discuss all the prices beforehand, and every blue moon, somebody doesn't listen to me. It happens, we're human. But just because you believe that you paid for an album for $150 does not mean that I'm giving you an album for, no, we're not doing that today. Not today. Not in this lifetime. Not going to happen. So we have covered all 3 sections of this series, right? The value of that 1-star rating, again, people who take time to write about your business, do not sleep on them. Really, you don't. That's how you stay in business. We love to get the feedback. That means somebody cares about your business. So thank them. Truly thank them. Maybe you give them a coupon. I don't know. But there's ways to thank them for taking the time to write it and rate you on Google. And we also know, too, that having 5 stars is not the place to be. It actually works against you, because 4 stars to 4.7, 4.8 is where trustworthiness lies when it comes to a company. Being 5 stars leaves that question mark. You know good and darn well somebody says something to somebody at some time. I know no one is that perfect. I know better. I know better. I have my moments. Like I said, I'm surprised that I haven't gotten the 1 or 2 star I knew was coming. Surprised it didn't. Hey, whatever. So we don't want to be there. And of course, if you're 3 or below, that is questionable. So yeah, whatever someone told you in that 3, 2, or 1-star review, you should check it. Check it to see what's going on. And we know that their perception is their reality. However, there is some truth in that story. There is some truth there. So find it. And when you do, no, the customer isn't always right. And it's what it is. We have our best practices and our procedures to not only protect their experience, but also your customer, your company's bottom line. So we don't want to just run out and give them the sun, moon, stars, and whatever planet. I mean, you could give them Pluto, so it's no longer part of the group, but you don't want to do that. You want to be strategic about it. Use your small claims court mindset. do a little rough justice and figure out where can you fall. If you just say we apologize for dropping the ball, typically that will be suffice. But if you really drop the ball, and my brother will tell you sometimes, oh, and my husband Ron as well, sometimes we really drop the ball at our shared experience, then yeah, you may have to come out of pocket a couple of dollars, just a couple of dollars, not too much, but just a couple of dollars. But hey, it happens. But we live and we learn. And the whole idea is to take these learning lessons and put them into action and to be better business people and deliver a better product and experience along the way. Yeah, yeah, we got stories for days. If I ever decide to write a book, oh Lord, I could really write a book. I could really write a book. So I will tell you this. Hey, we're doing great on our time. Like I said, next week, we're back. We're going to talk about profit first because I love the idea of taking profit for your company from the very first sale you make. We're not waiting 5, 4, 10, 15, 7 years to claim profit for our business. We are doing it from day one. The first time we sell something, we are claiming our profit and then setting up our small business uh, to be around for a long time. Now, it's a change in mindset. Trust me when I say that it's a change in mindset, but I can tell you it has done the best for my business. I'm very happy that I adopted it. And then also, too, we're going to talk about customer types. I was chatting with a dear friend about customers, and I'll leave it as a preview. So if you know about the current AI conversation, everyone's talking about AI in some form or fashion. Our dear friend Spencer is included in that mix. There was a conversation about a young lady, and I'm not going to knock her hustle. She decided to use the AI company that takes your selfie and gives you 35 headshots for $17. That is how she is charging people $50 for the service. So on Facebook, she has this post where she's like, send me your selfies. I can create the AI headshot for you and get it back. It'll be $50, blah, blah, blah. And so there were these photographers who were angry, just angry that this young lady was charging people $50 for 30 plus headshots. Mind you, the company charges 17, but that's a whole side conversation. But I thought to myself, the person who was buying the headshot for $17 or $50, well, that wasn't your customer anyway. Like real talk. Like really think about it. There's a product for everyone. The person who at this moment needs to pay $17 for 35 headshots, well, that's not my customer. Like I already know that. So why am I upset? I shouldn't be upset, right? It got nothing to do with me. And the young lady who was making her hustle, clearly making a profit because she had a waiting list. Why didn't I think of that? Like, why didn't I think of that? Not mad at her either, right? Like it's open. If people want to pay that money, then they can pay that money. But we're going to talk about your customer and customer types and getting money for your business. That is going to happen in April. If you have not filed your taxes, file your taxes, please. Please, please do. And if you have not put on your calendar all the days where you have to pay your taxes, your sales taxes quarterly, I would advise you do that too. If there are any questions or concerns, drop them in the chat. Drop them in the chat. But again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in for these last three lives, a part of this series. And we'll start our next stuff in April. And a matter of fact, let me just say this for those of you who are perhaps looking at love. I got a book that I'm reviewing and I love it. It's called I Can't Afford to Marry You. Ooh, buddy. Let me tell you, I did read it before I got married. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of people go into marriage and everybody ain't ready, but what can I tell you? But that'll be on a different YouTube channel. Just want to put that out there. But we're gonna have some fun stuff coming up in April. Are you gonna start using this line? I can't afford to marry you. Is that what you're saying? Seriously? I mean, well, okay, I will say this. It makes really good sense. Like once I read the book, I thought, holy shnikey. And if you've ever heard, like if you're in any kind of relationship, it doesn't matter if you're married or not married, but financial infidelity, ooh, man. Yeah, April's gonna be good. It's all about the dollar in April, believe it or not. But not like, making money, but more about like how can we save it and just like be better in financial planning. But whatever, whatever. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Holy Snikes, we are just over that 30-minute mark, but that's okay. Enjoy your Tuesday. We'll be back next week. Hug your loved ones. Be kind, pay your taxes, and we'll see you next week.